welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies might have inspired it. And today on the show, we are going into the Happy Madison world. Is this the first time? No, it did Hubie Halloween many years ago. But God, it's been a while since we've done an Adam Sandler movie. And we are talking Happy Gilmore 2 today. And joining me, I've got two big Adam Sandler fans. We've got Joe Black and Jason Harris, both returning to the podcast for a three-person conversation about this huge, kind of in a way, wrap up of everything that Happy Madison Productions has done up until this point. This is a pretty big one for any fans of the Sandman, and we get into some good puzzle pieces here. I think we got into a lot of great stuff, a very fun conversation between the three of us. So that's coming up here in a second. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you are listening right now. You can click that subscribe, follow, plus whatever the button may be, hit it, and then you will find out about all the new episodes as they come out, because we got a lot of episodes on the way. So make sure you are subscribed. That's all I'm going to say. You could also check the show notes for lots of other stuff. But for now, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get to our conversation about Happy Gilmore 2. Joe Black and Jason Harris are here with me. It's time for Happy Gilmore 2. How's it going, guys?
Oh, I was deferring to Joe. But
Joe's the expert on this?
He was,
wow.
He was, no, I was like, I was going to let him speak first, but he didn't speak. So now I'm speaking because I don't like dead air, Dave, because I'm a goddamn professional.
You are a professional. We're all professionals, though. Joe's a professional. Look at him.
Yeah, I didn't say he wasn't, Dave.
Yeah. I never said that you never. I never said you didn't say that he wasn't or was. Or
don't try to cause conflict. We'll find it on our own.
Joe, how are you doing over there, Joe?
I'm doing very well. Yes, moving along on a few projects and feeling good.
All right, on. Joe, you
thanks
saw this movie before either of us did. How are you feeling about the reception of this movie now that it's out in the wild? How do you feel like people taking it the way that you expected them to take it?
Well, Dave, sorry, I want to hear your answer, but how are people receiving it, Dave? You can't just say that without letting us know.
Well, okay, fair. I feel like people aren't liking it, although I feel like all three of us did like it. So
I don't know. It has a 3.2 on Letterboxd, right? And like critics seem to be pretty. Here's the thing. You know how for years we've been talking about like we want the return of like mid-budget movies, you know,
Sure.
blah, blah, blah. Actually, what the secret has been all along is that we needed a return of mid movies.
Yeah, sure,
like we needed a return of movies that are like just good enough to have a good time and go home and forget about, because that's the shit that not movie people want to actually go out and go see. You know what I mean? They're not looking to make every Friday like the biggest night of their life. You know what I mean? They just want to go and enjoy a movie.
Yeah, they don't need The Brutalist every single Friday night.
Right. Yeah, that was the movie that I was thinking of.
Totally,
too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's getting exactly what I expected, and I'll say that this version is slightly better than the one that I saw. I think I can take credit for one moment in it specifically.
Oh, nice.
I can also give some insights to two other changes that were made. One of which actually addresses. I saw Jason's Letterboxd review, and it addresses one of those things. Funny enough, the one thing I can take credit for is, you know, the part where they're on the wobbly little final hole there, and like he makes the deal with Ben Safdie about like all the stuff that he'll get.
Yeah.
And he throws in like, I want you to pay for her college. I want you to pay for get my grandma's house back. Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the cut we saw. And when they asked at the end what we all thought of the ending, I raised my hand and I said, it bothered me that he never got his grandma's house back. And I figured that the ending would have been him getting the house back and her going, like leaving to go to the airport from the grandma's house, so you could recreate the ending of the first one.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not even kidding. I bet you $100 that they're like, well, there's no way we're reshooting this, but I bet you Adam Sandler, who was there that night, I bet you $100 he just recorded that line into his fucking iPhone, sent it to his editor and said, find a place to slap this in.
Yeah.
Like,
and that would fit perfect. So yeah.
It's also weird that the movie, which is like, it could have just been called Happy Gilmore 2, callback, because there's just all callbacks from the
Nonstop.
OG that they wouldn't have that in there in the cut that you saw. But
Yeah. The thing that addresses your issue with it was they asked about the flashbacks and if we like all the cutaways to the original movie, and they asked how we felt about that. And I said that there were too many. And what's funny is there are far less than there were in that cut, and the ones that are in there are shorter than they were in the cut that I saw. But unfortunately, there were a couple of like teenage girls who were in there who had never seen the first one, that they directly asked them, did you find it helpful? And they're like, totally. It was so helpful. And you could feel everyone in our group just like, fuck, like they won't cut them if you say that.
Yeah, just watch the movie. It's I do hear what you're saying. It's like playing to the lowest common denominator. But the whole impetus of making this was that people loved the first one and wanted a sequel. It's not like they were like, people were like, I never saw the first one. I wish they would make a sequel so I could not watch the first one
Right.
and then just watch the sequel, right? Like it's it didn't need it. It didn't need any of that. I wouldn't have minded maybe one or two, but like I thought like the better stuff was the way they called back the original without flashing back, whether it's the fight in the graveyard or at the end where I'm really glad that they showed, Chubbs and the Gator and Abraham Lincoln, that,
right.
There was they undercut their own cleverness with that stuff.
Yeah, but I'll say that like thankfully it's not only were there fewer of those, but the ones that were still there were shorter. You know what I mean? Like so like again, I'm on your side honestly, but like not to the level that I care anymore. You know what I mean? Like fine, if it helps, 2% of the audience, then I don't care. It doesn't hurt the movie enough for me to like be that bothered by it. The other thing is during the mid credits where like they talk about like him losing his company and all that, the Maxi guy or whatever.
Yeah.
That was not in there because the one consensus we all had was that in the focus group was that none of us liked that the Maxi guys didn't get in trouble for cheating. Like, you know what I mean? Because like the whole cutting of the thing or whatever, we were all like, they're fucking cheaters, and like it's like weird because it's a movie that there's no comeuppance, you know what I mean?
Well, my biggest issue with the movie is he's terribly miscast. Like Safdie is not a good villain at all.
You think?
I
kind of liked him. I don't know.
You would, Jave.
Would. That's true.
You look like him. So, I mean, talk about mid. Like you have a guy with endless funds who's creating a new golf league to take out what is traditional golf. Like that is like a big character that like there's a billion guys from SNL. What if that was Will Forte or something, or Will Ferrell? Like there's so many more fun people that could have done that role. I just thought, I mean, that's what Benny Safdie does, right? Is it Benny who did this one or the other one?
Yeah, Benny.
Know.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a fine, straightforward actor, but that's all he is as an actor, is a straightforward actor. And this is Happy Gilmore, and you have one of the all-time great villains in the first one. So this is what you're giving me in the second one? This villain and that whole Maxi Lee did nothing for me. Like that's why I think the first hour is so much better than the second hour.
Yeah, and I mean he's obviously no Shooter McGavin. I mean he's the best, like you said, one of the all-time villains as far as comedies are concerned. And he's no that. But at the same time, I liked him. I thought he was just absolutely ridiculous, and that's what He
wasn't ridiculous. Though.
I thought he was
just boring. He was just
really
bland, vanilla. I don't know.
Joe, tiebreaker. Before we get into some puzzle pieces, tiebreaker on this.
I feel the same way about him that I do about the flashbacks. Like it didn't hurt the movie to me. You know what I mean? And it didn't help the movie necessarily. But I will say that the fart recognized joke alone really like that overshadows like a lot of any shortcomings he has. Like that was really funny to me, and that's one of my small, I call them Chad pieces in honor of Chad, like Alien Resurrection, when they have like the Dan Hedaya has like the breathalyzer thing for his door, and Winona Ryder has like the little keychain with the different sprays on it to find the right one.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I
just didn't find like Shooter is such a great villain and as charismatic as you need to love hate him. And
Sure.
I just didn't feel any of that for,
Yeah.
I think they stacked enough villains against him though, like that kind of like Haley Joel Osment was a good idea, and Ben Stiller. Like
There's
I
a
think there was
lot of
enough,
story.
and
Yeah.
you don't want to try to compete with Shooter in a way too, I suppose. But
No,
I'm not. Yeah,
miscast. I don't mind the character idea.
I'm all for him not
miscast.
being in movies. So anybody else is totally fine with me. I think you actually hit the nail on the head when you said at best he's a fine actor. Like he's like, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
Like he's like, again, he's not ever gonna hurt. He's like Pedro Pascal in that, like, he's not gonna hurt a movie, but what does he add to any movie?
Right,
You
and
know?
it didn't seem like, dude, Christopher McDonald eats in this movie.
So
He's having
good.
so much fun. Safdie, did it seem like he was having any fun? It was just like, yeah, this is my thing, right? But like,
I guess
I would
so.
have much preferred, just someone really, really, really taking a big swing with that part.
Well,
But again, if it gets 2% of the A24 audience to watch this movie because it's a repairing of the Uncut Gems guys, I'll take it
There you
over.
go.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
I'm more
true.
in your camp, Jason, than you'd think, honestly. But
Yeah.
again,
I just don't think they need it. Like I know it's Sandler, it's cameo fest. That's what these movies have become. So I don't really think they need like, oh, how can we put it over the top? Betty Safdie. Like that doesn't really do anything, right? No one.
that's
no
what
one
it's like
from
when
Happy
worlds collide, man.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
when Happy Gilmore came, like again, it's a Lego sequel, right? Like people wanted this, right? And it's not going to be like there weren't. I don't think anyone on Earth is like, I wasn't going to watch it, but now that I see that Benny Safdie is Frank Manatee, I'm in.
It was a great name. Come on.
It is a great name. I have no problem with that. So,
Oh, amazing. Jason, let's go to you first. What do you got for a puzzle piece here?
Well, I mean, I'll leave the Lego sequel stuff to you guys. So I'm going to go to one of my favorite movies. Look, his daughter, she needs to go to ballet school, Dave.
Yeah.
And, you got to make money to send your kids to the ballet. That's Billy Elliot right there. Love me some Billy Elliot. Dad making sacrifices to send his kid to become a ballet dancer. Billy Elliot.
Yeah, and we know that all this time Happy Gilmore has been working that like real hard job to like make his way through and make the money. Yeah, breaking his back and all that. So yeah, no, that
if he was a coal miner like the dad and Billy Elliot, he could have put the shovel in between his crotch and pretended to hump it like a penis. Right there.
Just like all his kids, definitely.
Yeah,
so love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Joe, let's go to one over there.
Clerks 3.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for the most obvious that, like, you got the Lego sequel to a 90s classic, same audience, really. And they're all they're kind of like on the other side of middle age, and like the wife being dead and that being like a source of torment for the main character. Only this one does it brilliantly.
Sure. Yeah.
Clerks 3 is an abomination. This actually, like, it's funny. It half has earned its story, but also it's kind of loosey-goosey callback nature. Like Sandler's earned it over the years. You know what I mean? He's not just pulling for Happy Gilmore in this one with like his callbacks even. You know what I mean? Because this one's like a victory lap for sure. And he's pretty victorious, honestly. I was looking up his stats. Even Grown Ups 2 made $250 million.
It's crazy.
And remember when he signed the Netflix deal, everyone was like, oh, that's the end. He was just ahead of everybody else on that. So I like the piece. Obviously, I hate Clerks 3 because
we all do.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Except I like when you like go into like the Kevin Smith Facebook groups and there's always every day I watched Clerks 3. It made me cry. What a beautiful movie. Like you're a terrible. You don't get to watch movies anymore.
Right.
But so I had heard that Julie Bowen, like Sandler had to fight to cast her because of course they wanted like a younger love interest.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was really glad she was in it. I agree with you. The story was motivated and like that all worked. The one thing that didn't work for me was the relapse on Mother's Day. Like he's a professional athlete and he's overcome all these odds, but now that it's Mother's Day, he can't handle it anymore. I just thought that was kind of lazy.
It's just easy. It's an easy thing to write in there, I guess. But yeah,
I don't know. Having been married to an addict, I buy it. Like, it's very like simple, the things that can cause somebody to relapse, and like, not my current wife, by the way, just throwing that out there for the audience, my ex-wife. Sure. But also they set it up nicely with the mother showing up for what's his name's son, fucking Jaws' son, and I don't know. I think that they set it up just fine. I also think that this one works too, though, because they use this as an opportunity for Happy to have to reflect. I mean, the whole thing with the Maxi thing is that he's reflecting on what did I do to culture? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, I'll get into that with my next piece, but anyways.
Yeah. And Clerks 3, Little Jane, Silent Bob reboot in there as well. That was definitely the first thing that I was thinking of as well. And this movie, it's definitely coming from the same place as that. It's trying to explore some of the same things as Clerks 3. It just does it so much better with actual jokes, which is an important thing for a comedy. Mm-hmm. And so it's definitely, I think, the number one puzzle piece, kind of like that's what I kept thinking of. So,
well, just real fast with that, the nostalgia does feel like a little more earned as well, and you're
exactly
into it
I agree.
as opposed to that. So, but you can't just call him Jaws. That's Mr. Larson. I believe your ball landed on my foot, shooter.
Sorry,
you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
What's that line where he's like, how did he die? He rolled over in his sleep. Genius.
Right. Yeah, because he had a nail in his head.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. I will go along the same lines of these legacy things. I'm going to go with the Wet Hot American Summer Netflix prequel/sequel series that are essentially just total repeats of everything that happened in the original movie, but with a whole bunch of added cameos and characters and just crazy, ridiculous nonsense just kind of added in to pad it all up. And that sounds like a negative, but I mean it in a good way, because like I did like Happy Gilmore too, and I like it more than the Wet Hot American Summer sequel series. It just takes the exact same blueprint as the first movie and just adds all this stuff on. And that's really become kind of the blueprint for all these legacy sequels in a way. I feel like we could name a whole bunch of them. Clerks 3 and that are the only ones that I was going to bring up. But as far as taking the same setup, filling it in with all these new characters, as many cameos, as many famous people, and there's so many in this movie. It's not just comedy actors. It's all the golfers and all these people that I don't even know about, but I could tell that that's who they are. All these famous sports people that Sandler seems to have picked up along the way. Everybody is in this, but there's got to be like 80 cameos in this.
And again, my next piece will speak to that, but how many of them added anything to it? Because you think of the original Happy Gilmore, Bob Barker scene is like one of the great comedy scenes of, the last 50 years. We love it, right? So I think so many of these cameos are worthless. I don't mind that, like, Safdie's going on the podcast to talk about, Maxi, that like at least advances a plot. But do I need to see any of them watching the golf tournament later? No, they don't add anything to it. And that's not a knock on any of those people. There's just nothing there. The cameos that work for me were Guy Fieri, because he got to play Guy Fieri, right? And he was pretty fun at that. And I don't know. I just think like most of these cameos, just the golfers I get, they have to be there. That's fine. But most of these cameos just really did nothing for me.
Well, you didn't like Eminem?
Yeah, Eminem
that was fun. That was fun. And he got to reference his own song and say, Detroit, what, right? Like, that's fine. Why not?
Cool.
I'll take that.
But you just said it, though. The ones that advance the plot, that are characters that are advancing the plot, they at least are worthwhile. Then some of them are just simply like, well, we've got a list of like 15 other people who said yes. Where can we squeeze them in?
Right. That doesn't do anything for the movie. It doesn't help it. It diminishes it to me. I don't sit there going like, ooh, it's the hosts of Bad Friends.
Do you think the average Netflix watcher does say, ooh, it's that guy from this other thing I watch? Joe seems to think so.
And I actually think that it's very important, because especially when comedy is like not a thing on the radar at the moment.
Yeah.
What this movie proves is, I mean, Happy Gilmore is like a cultural staple. You know what I mean? Which isn't something that really happens that much anymore. And I think that by having like kind of legacy cameo people, even like Eminem or John Lovitz, or, but then also having like, Margaret Qualley and Bad Bunny and stuff like this, it's kind of beautiful in a way, because it's showing how important something like this can be, and reminding us of what it's like when there's like a cultural icon like this that something people want to be a part of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually do think that kind of like computes in people's brains that like, oh wow, all of these people want to be a part of this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I
think
mean?
you could have halved it and gotten the same result,
Maybe.
but
Maybe,
you know, I
maybe.
mean, the John Lovitz scene was an actual scene that made sense, so like that's fine. Bad Bunny is, you know, he's probably fifth billed in the movie, so I wouldn't even
He's
call
so
that
funny.
a cameo.
I really
loved
like
him.
I
Yeah.
really like him. He's
Yeah, I
great.
mean, and
Yeah.
Marcelo Hernandez, like those guys are good, right? So like, I just think like a less is more approach would have been nice there. The best to me of those small roles, he's hilarious in everything, and as a comedian is Lavelle Crawford as
Oh,
Slim
yes.
Peterson. He's just give him more to do, please.
I
So,
agree 100%. He came in the 25th hour and stole it at the test screening, especially.
Nice.
Like
good.
so genius. But again, I do actually think that there's a lot of value, and especially what's cool about the Netflix thing for Sandler is that he gets to kind of just do what he wants. It's so low stakes because we're going to watch it at home. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to get everybody to actually go out to the theater and have to have X amount of screen times a day, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So like, he just gets to do funny things, and I don't know, this is a victory lap. And I don't know. I found it cool that we were all celebrating like a cultural staple in 2025 where those don't exist anymore.
Right.
And I want to do that. I mean, they do Top Gun Maverick, but which would be my legacy sequel there. But the thing is, like you just mentioned, like it's low stakes because it's Netflix. What a blown opportunity, because this is Fantastic Four weekend, right? Which is going to make money. This movie, I think, would have made a lot of money in the box office, and it would have helped. You know, we're going to do Naked Gun next week. Like this should play and would have played. And this is the type of movie, like you're saying, you want to see with your friends. Like we watched the original together. Dude, I can't tell you how many times in high school, you know, we would do movie nights and, you know, 8 of us would be in my friend's basement, and Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison would usually be the pick.
100%. Yeah, I gave this 3.5 on Letterboxd. It probably would have been a 4 if I was sitting on the couch with you guys watching it. So
true. And the theater that I saw it in, the test screening. Now, to be fair, you know, you're talking about Sandler fans or whatever, but like that theater went fucking wild,
right?
There's like from start to finish.
There's goodwill for this movie. I think they missed the, you know, what could have been done with it. So,
Jason, let's go to another piece. What do you got?
Yeah, so you want to talk about, to me, the example of cameos that work well, which are hot shotted, but actually serve a purpose and you're like clapping for them. I go back to Anchorman in the gang fight, and it's, you know, Ben Stiller is now the Spanish reporter. I prefer Mean Hal to not as Mean Hal in this one. You know, Tim Robbins is PBS. Vince Vaughn had a bigger part, but I thought Anchorman is the perfect example of how to do those sequels to make them pop the audience, but also make them count for the movie.
Did you like Anchorman 2?
I did like Anchorman 2.
Me too.
I mean, to me, Anchorman is like that and Step Brothers. I'll put up there with Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison as like, and Tommy Boy. Those are probably the 5 of, you know, the SNL comedies, Blues Brothers, if you want to go back, you know, that
which I do.
These guys. Yeah, of course. So, but yeah, I would love to see more of that from Will Ferrell today. But I guess, you know, as you get older, you can't really do that as much.
Jason, Joe and I have talked about this before, but I don't think I've ever talked about it with you. Have you seen Wake Up Ron Burgundy, the middle one?
I have.
Oh, it's so good. It's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so I just, you know, I just saw David Koechner about a month and a half ago. We work the same comedy clubs. He's just a lovely guy, and on stage he'll still say whammy for you and everything. And you know, I think there is something to be said, like you're saying, right? Like Anchorman 2 was 10 years apart. I think if they made an Anchorman now, people would want to see it the same way that people wanted to see this, or a Step Brothers now. So like, you know, I love these types of comedies. I'm trying to make these types of comedies. Joe, you know, we talk about comedy a lot together. You're in that world too. And I just think, you know, like sometimes if you overstuff it, it takes a little away. And this was an hour and 57 minutes. At an hour and 40, how smoking would this thing have been?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Like, I don't know. The version I saw originally was longer. Not necessarily there was more. It was just a little fattier. but I still like I walked out of that saying that was one of the best movies of the year. I don't know. I'm a pretty dyed in the wool Sandman, like acolyte. So like I'm not the greatest gauge. I literally have an Adam Sandler tattoo. Oh wait, that's Dan Aykroyd. There he is.
Nice.
On my arm, so much so in fact that his like manager got a picture of it that night at the screening.
That's
Like, do you
cool.
really have
Nice.
a Sandler tattoo? So
Joe is
again,
always making moves at these screenings.
Always.
He's
No,
always
no.
influenced.
What's really
Kevin
funny
Smith's
is
getting angry at him. And
what's funny
Sandler's-
the night before the screening, we actually got a call from the screening company. They're like, "Hey, are you the same Joe Black that did the Fast X screening in February of 20?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, we really liked your feedback that night, and we'd love to have you again in the focus group if you'd like to be a part of it, you and your
Yeah.
wife." And I was like, "Sure."
Amazing.
And they're like, they gave me the VIP treatment. Like I got to show up right before showtime. And I had like the center
media row, yeah.
row, and I got a free popcorn and a drink, and I was like, "Oh boy," But yeah, it was a good night. Okay, I have a piece.
Can
Yes.
I, before you do it, since we've been mentioning this, to me, Billy Madison is still the best Sandler.
Agreed.
Because it's the weirdest one.
Oh, best Sandler movie? Ooh,
yeah.
I mean,
Happy Gilmore is right beneath it for me, but I'm going to take Billy Madison still as my number one.
admittedly, I'm not the biggest Happy Gilmore fan. Like I like
Which is
it.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I do like it, but like it's nowhere near the top for me. But when it comes to Adam Sandler, if we're talking just like Happy Madison,
Yes.
like I don't know, I mean, does Eight Crazy Nights count, or is that its own little off thing too? Because that's my number one. But I love You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
I love that too. Yeah.
And I think, David, on this podcast, one of them, I know that we went down the Zohan rabbit hole of why I think that's actually one of like the most brilliant pieces of writing of this century.
Sure, yeah.
But Billy Madison is, I'm definitely more in that. I know it's going to sound nuts. I like this movie more than the first one, personally. And nowhere I'm not at all implying that I like it, that I think it's better, but I personally like it more. I think it just kind of clicks more with my sensibilities. I like how dark it goes, which actually plays into the piece I was going to say, Rocky Balboa, which has a very similar, it's for two reasons. One, you've got the dead wife again thing, or whatever, and he has to like make his comeback older than, you'd think he would be. But also Rocky at that point was such a cultural icon that you had like new generation boxers in that movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like a new Rocky movie was a thing for the boxing world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so same thing with this, like golfers of the last 30 years. I mean, Happy Gilmore, it'd be the same thing if like a Talladega Nights movie came out now.
Yeah.
Like NASCAR would go nuts. You know what I mean? I like that. What I think makes Sandler work so well is that he's not afraid to go to those real places while also having Steve Buscemi piss in a mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That like he actually like you feel the weight of what he's going through in the movie, but at the same time, it doesn't get in the way of Bad Bunny catching the baseballs, or whatever. Like he that balance is so difficult, and he fucking nails it. Unlike the first Happy Gilmore, which that's him trying to do a narrative, because Billy Madison, like you're saying, Jason, the genius of that movie, that's a Marx Brothers movie where it's like literally just a vehicle for Adam Sandler to do his thing and to like, just like run wild.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore is him trying to tell a story for the first time, and it works, but it's a little like pedestrian in the story. That sounded more critical than I meant it to be. This one is actually very rich and complex in its own weird way.
But I think it needed a simplification, like the whole idea of the maxi tour and, we're just riding go-karts and hitting golf balls. Like that didn't resonate with me nearly as much as guy who played hockey is now a, golfer, needs to win grandma's house back and beat the big bad in a golf tournament, which is more relatable to me.
Sure. But one of the things that takes me out of the first one is when the Volkswagen hits him and then they've got the whole thing set up and he has to do the Rube Goldberg machine. Like that actually takes me out of that movie because up until then it's a little heightened, but it's still kind of playing it straight enough. Even the ball landing on the guy's foot, fine. I'll buy it. You know what I mean? But like once it gets to that, I'm like, he just got hit by a car. They would probably stop the tournament. You know what I mean?
Right.
They
do explain it why he has.
I know. I know. And again, I will admit that Happy Gilmore is a better movie than as much as I like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Totally. So I mean, you're talking to somebody who liked fucking Independence Day 2.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
no, we all know you have terrible taste. It's not a
well,
big deal.
actually, that actually kind of works as a puzzle piece, because you could tell with this movie, to what you're saying, Jason, that this movie they had like 8 ideas for a Happy Gilmore sequel over the years, and they did them all.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Independence Day. They obviously had like 10 different ideas, and they're like, well, fuck it.
It's so funny. You just went from one of the best sequels, Rocky Balboa, to one of the worst sequels in one puzzle piece. I love that.
I want to just jump on because I have Rocky on my list for a different reason, which is Shooter McGavin, Apollo Creed. The villain in the first one becomes the best friend, coach, mentor, hero, sidekick hero in the sequel. So that's where I went with.
Love it. Yeah, that's all great. I love all the Rocky that got brought up here. That's great stuff. I'll go for my last one. And Joe, I was telling you before we started recording, I was trying to remember this thing, and I finally remembered it. It's actually a movie that Jason and I covered on Piecing It Together, The Bike Riders, the Jeff Nichols film, a movie about motorcyclists who they kind of turn the whole thing into like this badass thing. But then as the movie progresses, all these new younger bike riders show up, and they just make everything go to shit. And so these guys that have basically turned what, maybe at one point was more of a good, nice, respectable thing into just badass, whatever, just like, Happy Gilmore did in the first movie, now has to deal with these people who are just turning it even worse, and kind of this big race to the bottom, which is really one of the things that I like the most about this movie, is the idea of Happy Gilmore having to kind of reckon with that, even more than the aging stuff, because we see that in a lot of these legacy movies. Right. This was like an original idea that I really liked.
You want to start a bike club?
Yeah, there you go, Jason.
my final piece will tie into that too, but bike riders. Yeah, I mean,
not a fan.
No.
But I mean, I get it from a piece standpoint. That's
for sure.
That, so.
Yeah, none of us were super hot on that movie. Even though I love Jeff Nichols, but
he's one of those guys that tricks me every time. Like every time I see one of his movies, I'm like, man, that sucked. And then every time I see a trailer, I go, that looks pretty good.
Right.
And every time I'm just like, God damn it.
Damn.
Yeah, his No Independence Day 2.
There you go.
Well, again, what's so funny is I mentioned Independence Day 2 to so many people, and like nobody even remembers that it happened.
I know.
It's weird. But there's a reason. I mean, again, I went to Independence Day 2 20 years after the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I didn't like it, I'm the asshole. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in there 20 years later with no Will Smith, I'm kind of the asshole.
Honestly, Joe, I know, is doing some programming for like an independent theater in Southern California.
And I'm going, by the way. I don't know if this will be out before then, but I'm actually going this week. So
excellent. Yeah. But I wish that you would program stuff like independent. All the movies that when you say are like great, and we're like, Joe, what is wrong with you?
What are you talking
You should program
about?
all of those movies.
I never said Independence Day 2 was great, first of all. but no, I'm trying to weasel my way into some of that stuff. Like, hey, give this a second look. I'm weaning people in. I mean, I just did the Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Hey, there you go.
And the documentary about it's fun too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. We had the filmmaker. I was telling Dave, we had the filmmaker of that documentary and Chris Gore both do like video like intros for the thing for us that night too. It was a cool night. But yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff is going to start happening for sure. But here's the thing: I'm not trying to get anybody like on my wavelength with some of these. You know what I mean? Like I may screen Southland Tales. I don't know, but it's not like I'm not gonna do something like, guys, we really got to watch Independence Day Resurgence tonight. Yeah. Like that's.
What are you gonna go see, Dave?
Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I'm
excited.
My buddy's wife is in that movie, so it was like a no-brainer. And she lives right up the street from the store.
Kirsten Dunst?
No, she's the nurse. She's the really chipper nurse.
Your buddy is Jesse Plemons. So we're getting over a half hour mark. Let's get to some closing thoughts. And if you want to squeeze in any extra puzzle pieces while you're doing it, go for it. Jason first.
Yeah. So extra puzzle pieces real fast. We mentioned Top Gun Maverick. I mean, the two others I had, there's a straight homage to Joker when Shooter gets out of the institution and does the dance down the steps in the rain type stuff.
Sure.
And then my piece, Dave, that you were kind of alluding to of like, and I think would have been maybe more effective of like the new generation is trying to stomp out the old generation. but you could have kept it in the world of the game, was Any Given Sunday, Steamin' Willie Beeman, baby.
Okay.
So I did like it. I really liked the first hour. It was so fun and just kind of nostalgic. And, the stuff that didn't work for me in that first hour didn't really bother me because I was having more fun with like watching John Daly go crazy and, Sandler. I thought the motivation and the comedy was working. And then as it got more into the maxi tour, it just fell off for me. But I want weird Sandler. I hope there's more weird Sandler out there. And
Zohan.
yeah, I
Zohan
mean,
too.
you still don't mess with the Zohan.
Yeah.
I mean, after what's going on right now over in Israel, that would be a hell of a sequel. I'm just saying.
Wild.
Zohan is killing people on the Gaza Strip as they try to get food. Oh God, that got dark. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we know he's in the Baumbach movie this year, and they're already talking about the Oscar nomination. The campaign's starting, so it'll be interesting to see where he does. I do think, like, if not acclaim, there's a lot of warmth for this film. But Joe, you said Letterboxd is right about a 3.2. I had it as a 3. I have Happy Gilmore, the first one, as a 4. So like it's right in. I'm in the kind of bell curve on this one, I'd say.
Fair enough.
For sure.
Fair enough.
A quick question: what was everyone's favorite joke? If you had to pick one joke that, like, really, just curious.
It would be something with Shooter McGavin. I love when he's reading The Shining and he's like, this guy's losing it. He's just
No, the best Shooter McGavin are the tiny callbacks that are only there for like the people who love it. Like when they're fighting at the graveyard and he smashes his face into the grandma's grave and he says, "That's for you, Grandma," and then Shooter just goes, "Hi, Grandma." That's the warmth that I want. That's so specific to Happy Gilmore, and like, so I love the stuff like that in there.
My favorite joke, it's a toss up. It's either when they toss the clubs and he goes, "I caught my own club."
Yeah,
that's
really
brilliant.
Yeah.
But also no, it's not a toss up. My favorite joke, 100%, is when he just throws the tee down and then the ball right on top of it.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that to me, like, again,
he's a
like
legend.
that. I mean, just and it doesn't say like, let's see a surgery. Don't need no surgery to do that or something like that. Like,
yeah.
Whew, that's my kind of Sandler joke. My final thing on this, I was going to say, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is actually a very similar puzzle piece where it is an indulgent, overly long, stuffed full of cameos / family, if you will, like his actual company of actors and that he's made over his 30-year career. But it's also a movie that's reflecting about him acknowledging what he did for and to movies. And like how I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is Tarantino's way of admitting, fuck, I actually opened the door to what killed movies, but like I really do care, and this is what sets me apart. And he did it the way that it should be done. You know what I mean? Like literally taking all of Hollywood and actually really redoing all the storefronts and all that shit just so people could drive by it instead of doing CGI. Like he like did it right to kind of show like, this is the difference, folks. Like we've gone down a bad path that in my youth I opened the door to. And I think that that's what they're doing in Happy Gilmore. It's just like what you've been talking about with like the maxi guys and stuff. I think that it's Sandler's way of saying like, look, I know that I opened the door to this, but what sets this apart from what it's become is that I actually do care. I'm actually not afraid to go there. And we are better writers and we are better actors than we're given credit for. That's why we lasted 30 years. You know what I mean? So I would say that that's not only why I love the movie so much, but also, yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is like a final piece that I would throw in there.
Love it. Love it. I wonder if Sandler would ever do something that like speaks to the Netflix movie, quote unquote, and just how much he has pushed that and how much he's been a part of the building of that as a thing that's kind of taken over a lot of movie making.
I'll say he's the only one doing it right, though.
Yeah,
like, and to what you were saying, Jason, he did it first. It was smart of him because I think that the thing about Sandler is he's a businessman too. That's actually also part of why he's lasted so long is he's a really good businessman. And I think he saw the shift in trend, especially around like when Trump was like, you know what I mean? Like we saw kind of like this like revolt against comedy and nobody wanted to be like coming. He saw the way the wind was blowing, and he I think it was brilliant of him because he's just as popular as ever since going to Netflix. And I don't think you could really say the same for other people who have kind of done it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Yeah, he's actually like one of the best, one of the greats. You know what I mean? In the same way you talk about Tom Cruise, you mentioned Top Gun Maverick earlier. Like he played it right. You know what I mean? He knows how to play it right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we got into a lot of good stuff here, guys. Let's get to some plugs. Jason, what's going on with you?
All the same stuff, comedy, trivia nights. Come find me on the socials. Jason Harris Comedy, Eat This Comedy, the trivia party. Come play some trivia.
Have we done an awesome movie or episode on Sandler yet?
Well, we probably should have. I mean, we did cover 96, which is, I think, when the first one came out, although it always felt 95 to me. And we've covered 94, which we definitely should have covered Billy Madison, but I'm guessing we haven't done this.
Yeah.
Was Billy Madison not 95?
Maybe it was 95, 96.
Because I think 94 is Airheads and Mixed Nuts.
Yeah, all
and
right.
then 95 is
Dude, I used to have Billy Madison memorized, and when I did a rewatch recently of like some Sandler stuff, I was just so delighted about how just weird and offbeat it was still. So, that's my favorite.
It's great. We should do 2008 so I could pick You Don't Mess with the Zohan and we could really make Josh squirm.
Anything to make Josh uncomfortable or upset is worth it. I agree with you on that. So.
If you do that, you should have me on there, and I'll go down my theory about the genius of that thing.
Oh, yes.
Really,
hell yeah.
like by the end, he'll just be.
I would like to do. I mean, just book it already, guys. I'm into that.
Let's do it.
08's a good year. 08's a good year.
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Joe, what do you got going on?
We're gonna do another Natasha Hall movie next month. We're shooting it in September. It's called She's So Hot. And then I actually just got hired to direct a Killer Bear movie in October. It's a script I wrote 13 years ago. Got passed around, from friends, and it landed on the desk of a producer who was like, "Hey, if you turn this into a Killer Bear movie, we'll make it." And I said, "Sure, that's fine." And so that's happening. Looking forward to it. I'm trying to get another Natasha Hall movie made at the end of the year. I'm trying to do too much, really, is what I'm getting at. Yeah. But yeah, new Natasha Hall movie, She's So Hot, in September, and then this bear movie in October, which is kind of right now being called Badass Bear. We're tossing that around. And then I'm doing the screenings at Cinephile Video in Santa Monica. I'm helping curate, and I host, like every other week, I host a screening. So if you're in the LA area, come on out to that. They're free if you're a member. If not, membership's $5. That's what I'm up to.
Beautiful. Well, great getting both of you back on the show, and we'll talk to both of you again sometime soon.
Bye.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Happy Gilmore 2. Thank you so much to Joe Black and Jason Harris for joining me on that one. And thank you to all of you for listening. If you're enjoying Piecing It Together, make sure you're subscribed. You could also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. Join the Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. And you can also check out our Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, from Awesome Movie Year, which is Jason's show, and from my music career. I'm kind of a little overdue for posting some music stuff there. I have some stuff prepped and ready to go. I just got to get it up there, but that's going to happen very soon. So check it out. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. Lots of ways to support the show, and that is a very cool way to do it. So that does it for today's episode. I got to close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And there's a lot of talk about getting older and all the things that go with getting older and accepting getting older. And that's a big theme of this movie. It's also a big theme of my comedy rock group with my dog, the Pup Pups. And on the latest album, 3 Chords and the Pooch, which just came out last month and is available right now on vinyl at Wax Trax Records or on Bandcamp. but there's a pretty big theme between the last few albums of Harvey getting older and how getting older is okay. And I'm going to play a song that hits right into that theme. It's called Getting Back to My Old Self. I think this would be a good fit here. So hope you enjoy Getting Back to My Old Self by my dog Harvey. From the Pup Pups' new album, Three Chords and the Pooch. And we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
To my old self means getting back to my old self. When getting back to my old self means being me. Some days my naps last most of the day. Other days I'm barking and got something to say. Some days are adventures, some are just a little rough. But no matter what, I'll always be me. I'll always be who I'm supposed to be. And you know I'll always be that little pup. Getting back to my old self means getting back to my old self. When getting back to my old self just means me. To my old self means getting back to my old self. When getting back to my old self means being me. Remember how I used to do my trick, kick flip off my dad and jump halfway to the sky. But you know I'm still that gonna have some bad days, but after the bad days, then come the good days. And when I say every day's a gift, that's why. Getting back to my old self means getting back to my old self. When getting back to my old self just means me.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.